In this session, we're going to take a look at EventSentry's folder monitoring feature, which is part of disk space monitoring. So if you're in the EventSentry Management Console and you click on System Health, then we can filter down on disk space. So now we only see packages that contain a disk space object. We already went over the regular disk space monitoring in a different video. So we're going to take a look at the database purge, which contains an application scheduler object as well as a disk space object. We'll see that the main disk space monitoring is disabled because we're just utilizing the directory monitoring here. So this package is automatically added to EventSentry whenever you're utilizing a database and are enabling the automatic purge during the installation. So we can see here that we can add multiple folders to this feature. In this case, we only have one listed, and it's the data 14 folder inside the EventSentry directory on a D drive. So this is where the EventSentry database is stored on this computer. And if you double click it, then we can actually review the settings. So what we're doing here is EventSentry is monitoring this folder. It's going to let us know. It's going to trigger an alert if the size of that folder is above 150 gigabytes. We're looking at the physical size rather than the logical size. So in most cases, there's not much difference, but still EventSentry lets you differentiate between those two. The size of that folder is checked every minute. Depending on the size of the folder and the number of files in there, you may want to increase that. This folder does not contain that many files. So a check every minute is okay, but in most cases, especially for something like this, a higher interval would work too. So for example, 10 minutes. Here we're deciding with which error level, with which severity we're logging these alerts to the event log, and whether we store that information in the database. And finally, of course, you can also decide, do you want to include subfolders when monitoring a directory? So in most cases, you're going to want to do that. We can see that the action here is grayed out. We can't control it. That's because it's already set on the package level. So if we go here and view the properties of the package, we can see here that the database is already set on the package, and it's going to automatically propagate to all the object inside there. But in any case, this is how simple it is to set up folder monitoring. If we have the folder configured to log to the database, and we can see that it's set to yes here, then you can review the information in the web reports as well. So this is something you'll find, of course, under Health folders. And here you would see all the folders that are being monitored on your network. In our case, we only have one, which is the database directory on the EventSentry server itself. But you can see stats like how many files are being monitored, what's the logical versus physical size, what's the average file size, and the compression ratio, which in this case is 0%, of course, because there's no compression enabled on that folder. But if you're monitoring compressed folder, you can actually see the compression ratio, which can be pretty useful. But that's really how easy it is to set up folder monitoring, directory monitoring in EventSentry.